Hi! In this tutorial I'm going to show you step by step how to draw this candy cane illustration. Before you start, make sure to download the color palette and that you have all my free brushes. Everything is linked in the description of this video. And if you enjoyed this video and would like to draw more of me in different styles and techniques, make sure to check out my Patreon. I add a new video every week. And also, before we start, I would like to let you know that my Procreate course with paper cutout designs is ready. If you are interested in learning how to create illustrations like this, make sure to check it out. Only now you can get it with a special price, so make sure you won't miss this chance. Okay, so now with all that being said, grab your drawing tools, relax, and let's start. Let's make a new canvas, A4 canvas from Procreate. Rotate it this way. And first we can draw here the background. Let's pick first color for this. Take color number 1, and we can just drag and drop it into the canvas like this. Now we're going to add here some more colors. Let's take second color, color number 2, and pick a brush. Let's go to airbrushing and take soft brush. We can make the brush size maybe about 14, and just add here some kind of spots in this color, like this. Do it randomly. Okay, now let's take another color, color number 3. Let's add some of this. Okay, and the last color, color number 4. Let's add it in a few spots. Maybe like that. And if you feel like you don't have much of that first color left, you can just take it again, color number 1, and add it in a few spots. So I'll just add it maybe like that. Okay, now we can blend all of those colors together. So for this, let's go to the adjustments and take your Gaussian blur. Swipe your pencil on the screen to the blur size, and let's make it here about 39%. Tap here to finish this. Now we're going to draw here the floor. Let's make a new layer for this. So let's tap here on this plus, and now let's pick a color. Let's take color number 5. We can keep the same brush. Let's make it smaller. Let's make it about 5, and somewhere over here in about 1/4 of the canvas, we can draw a straight line like this. Hold your pencil on the screen to make this a straight line, and now you can put your finger here to make this horizontal. Okay? Let's color the bottom part of it. So drag and drop the color into here like this. You can hold your pencil on the screen and swipe it to the left or right to adjust the color drop threshold. Now we have to go over here again to make sure this is nicely colored, like that. And now we can blur this a little bit, because I would like this edge to be more blurred over here. I want it to kind of disappear. So let's go to the adjustments again here and take Gaussian blur. Over here we can make the blur size maybe 18%. Okay, let's tap here to finish this. Now we can add here some kind of texture. We are going to make it look like a wood. We can do it on a new layer. So let's make a new layer. And we want this pattern to be visible only on that floor. So we have to set this layer as clipping mask. Tap here and pick clipping mask. So now, like I said, everything that we are going to draw here will be visible only on this layer that is underneath. We can change blending mode of this layer. Let's tap here and set it to overlay. Let's pick the color. Take color number 6. And now we can pick a brush. Let's go here to textures and take here wood. Make the brush size 100%. And we can draw over here all over this, like that. Okay. And now we have to adjust the size of this and also add here perspective. So to do it, we are going to take the arrow tool And first we can use here the uniform option to make it bigger. Let's make this smaller. And now just make this pattern bigger, like this. I still want it much bigger. And now we're going to use here the distort option to make it look like it's going with a perspective. So let's take here now this point and bring it here to the middle, more or less. Okay. Now let's take this point and bring it close to the first one, like this. Now we can take here this bottom point and bring it closer over here. So it looks like that. Let's zoom in. And now I would like this pattern to be still way bigger. So we can just make it bigger this way. Okay. Now let's bring here this point down. And let's make this pattern still bigger. So just make it like this. Let's still bring this point lower. Okay, so you should have something like this. You can tap here to finish this. And if you still want, you can still adjust it again. Let's take the arrow tool. And slightly we can still adjust it. I'm going to take those points further away over here at the bottom. And this one's closer. Okay, I like it like this, so I'm going to tap here to finish this. Now let's adjust the opacity of this layer, so it's not so strong. So let's tap over here and turn it down over here. I'm going to make it here 36%. Okay, so the floor here is ready. Now let's add here some lights in the background. Let's go back to the background layer over here and make a new layer on top. We can pick first color for the lights. It will be color number 7. Let's pick a brush. Let's go back here to airbrushing and take now medium brush. We can make your brush size maybe 11 and draw here a few dots like this. We can make maybe one smaller, brush size 6, like that, and maybe one somewhere here at the bottom. Now let's pick another color. Let's take color number 8. Let's add some of lights in this color. Make sure you be also going here kind of like on the edge of the canvas. Now let's make the brush size bigger, 11. Let's add some lights in this size. Now next color, color number 9. Let's add some of this. Now smaller size, 7%. And one more color, color number 10. Now bigger size, 11. And I think that's enough. Now we can make it look more shiny. For this we can add here Gaussian blur. So let's go over here and take it. Let's make here this blur size maybe about 16%. Tap here to finish this. And to make them brighter, we are going to duplicate this layer. So let's swipe on it to the left and pick duplicate. And we can change the blending mode of this top one to add over here. And let's adjust the opacity so it's not too strong. I'm going to make it here 45%. We can now add some more lights on a new layer. Let's make a new layer. And this one we can set here right away to add. And now we can add some of this like that. In few spots, you can add it on top of the other lights to make it here look really nice. I'm making the brush size smaller now, 7%. And I'll just add a few of these. Okay, now another color, color number 9. Bigger brush size, 11. Now next color, color number 8. Smaller brush size, 7. And the last color, color number 7. Okay, I think that's enough. And for this we can add here another light effect. Let's go to the adjustments and take now bloom. Swipe your pencil on the screen to the bloom size. And then at the bottom you can change other settings. Okay, I think I like it this way. So my bloom size is 29, transition max, size 37, and burn 58. Let's tap here to finish this. And now we can just turn down the opacity of this a little bit. I'm going to make it here 79. Okay, so the background now is ready. Right away we can add here reflection from this background onto the wood. So to do it, we want to copy all of this in the background. Let's turn off the floor for a second, like that, those 2 layers. And we're going to copy this canvas. So let's go to the Actions menu, Add, and pick here Copy Canvas. Now let's pick here Paste. Now when you open the layers, you can see you have here all of this background on a new layer. Let's move it here above our floor, over here, so to the top of the layers. And as you can see, this already set itself as clipping mask. We can keep it this way. Let's bring the floor. And now we have to flip it upside down. So let's take the arrow tool. And over here, let's pick Flip Vertical. Now we have to move this like that. So those 2 bottom lights over here will meet each other like that. Okay, let's tap here to finish this. And now let's change blending mode of this layer. Let's tap over here and set it here to soft light. We can turn down the opacity of this a little bit, so it's not too strong. Let's make it here about 85. And now we are going to blur this a little bit. Let's go to the adjustments and take first Gaussian blur. Let's make it here 15%. And now again, let's go to the adjustments. And now we can take motion blur. We are going to swipe our pencils now vertically like this to give here a vertical blur. Let's do it just a little bit, not too much, okay? I'm going to make here this blur size 21. Okay, let's tap here to finish this. Okay, now let's start drawing our candy cane. Let's make a new layer for this. And let's pick a color. Let's take color number 11. Now let's pick a brush. Let's go here to calligraphy, and we are going to modify the monoline brush to make this drawing way easier. Because now the 100% of the brush size is still quite small. We are going to make it way bigger so we can just draw this candy cane with one line. So let's duplicate this brush, swipe on it to the left and pick duplicate. Let's tap on it. And now go here to properties, and we can change the maximum size. Let's make it about 754. Tap on done. And now you can see that the 100 size brush, it's already very, very big. Let's make it smaller. So it will be about the size of our candy cane, the size that we want to have. Okay, I feel like size 16 will be okay for me. So let's draw now a shape for the candy cane. To make our shape very nice and smooth, we can still adjust one setting. because now when we draw it, I can see that my line is a little bit shaky. We can fix it. Let's go to the Actions menu, Preferences, Pressure and Smoothing, and here we can make the stabilization a higher number, about 51%. Okay, so now when you draw it, it will be way nicer line. So let's draw a shape like that. And now let's take a small break, and I would like to ask you to write a comment, I can draw this. It would mean a lot to me, I would know that you enjoyed this video, and I could see who is watching me. So thank you for doing that. And now let's go back to drawing. Okay, I'm happy with this one. I'm just going to adjust the position of it. I will take the arrow tool and maybe move it more over here and rotate it like that. Okay, you can also make it slightly bigger if you want. I think my size and shape is okay now, so I'm going to tap here to finish this. Now let's draw the stripes on the candy cane. So for this, we are going to set this layer as alpha lock. Let's tap over here and pick alpha lock. This means that now we can draw only on this shape. Let's pick the color. Take color number 12. We can make the brush size now smaller for this. I will try size 9. And just draw here lines going like this all over this candy cane. And now we can start applying here light and shadow. For this we can make a new layer. And we're going to set it here as clipping mask. For the shadows, we're going to change blending mode of this to multiply. Let's pick the color for the shadow. Take color number 13. And we can draw it here with this brush. Let's just make size smaller, 7%. And just draw now along here the shape of this candy cane. And finish somewhere over here. So draw a line more or less like this. Okay. And now we can continue over here in this way. Let's blur this. Let's go to the adjustments and take Gaussian blur. And we can make here this blur size about 10%. Okay. Let's make one more layer now for the shadows. Set it as clipping mask and change it to multiply. We're going to repeat the same line, but a little bit thinner. So let's make here size maybe 3%. And now in the middle of this shadow that we already have, we can draw a line. So like this, and we can blur this. So let's go to the adjustments and take Gaussian blur. And this one maybe let's blur about 9%. Okay. We can maybe turn down the opacity of this layer, only if you think this is too strong. I will make it here 87%. Okay. Now in the same way, we can add here some lights. So let's make a new layer for this and set it here as clipping mask. For the lights, we can change blending mode to add. Let's pick the color. Take color number 14. And we can draw them now here with this smaller brush size. First, let's draw here light right on the edge here. So this way and this way. And then one over here. Let's blur this. So go to the adjustments and take Gaussian blur. And let's make this here 9%. Okay. We can turn down the opacity of this. This is a little bit too strong. I'm going to make it here 76%. And now again, we can add here one more brighter line of the light. Let's make a new layer for this. Set it as clipping mask. And change it here to add. Now let's make the brush size smaller, 2%. And in the middle, we can draw here one more line. Okay, let's blur this. Take Gaussian blur. Let's make this one here 6%. And now turn down the opacity. So we can see that there is a bigger shine over here, but it's not too much. I will make it here 64. Okay, so this candy cane is finished now. Let's add here a ribbon. And now I notice that I don't have the color for it over here. So I'm just going to quickly pick it. I'm going to add it to the color palette here in the end. This will be color number 15. Okay, so take color number 15. This will be in your color palette normally. And we are going to draw the ribbon, the bow, on 3 separate layers. Maybe before we do that, we can group these candy cane layers like this. So swipe on those layers to the right and pick your group. So this way we can keep our layers more organized. Let's make a new layer now for the ribbon. Tap here on the plus, and we can draw it. Let's start here with a shape like this. Kind of like an infinity sign. Okay, and color this inside. Drag and drop the color in here. Maybe right away I'm going to move it up, somewhere over here like that. And now on the new layer, we can draw on top of this the middle part. So let's make a new layer. Let's draw here a shape like this. Color this inside. So it's shaped like that. And now let's make one more layer and put it under the main part of the ribbon. And here we can draw those loose ends. So draw them like this, one, and another one over here. Okay, color this inside. And if something like this happens, it means that your shape was not closed. So I can just turn off this for a second, and now I can see where I have to close my shape. Okay, let's bring it back. And now in the same way, like we add shadows and lights to the candy cane, we can do it for the ribbon. Let's start here with those loose ends. Let's make a new layer on top of them and set it as clipping mask. Change this to multiply and take color for the shadows, so color number 13. Over here, maybe let's use here the airbrushing and soft brush. This way we can control better how our shadows will spread. Let's start with brush size 3% and add the shadow over here, like that. To have here even more control over how we draw this, we can turn down the opacity of this brush. Let's make it 66. So this way we can apply it in few places softer and in few places lighter. Okay. So let's make it quite dark here right under the bow parts and lighter here on the edges. And spread it out like that. And now if you feel that you want to make this blend nicer, you can add here Gaussian blur. So let's go to the adjustments and take Gaussian blur. And add here small Gaussian blur, maybe about 7%. Tap here to finish this. And then you can still make it darker right under the bow. Now let's add here lights. Let's make a new layer for this. Set it as clipping mask and change it to add. Let's pick the color for the lights. Color number 14. And we can add this here, over here on this side. Let's add here small light right on the edge here in the shadow part. And now add here Gaussian blur. Over here, I think like 4% for me is enough. Let's tap here to finish this. And here we can stop with this one layer of shadows and lights. This ribbon is not as shiny as the candy cane, okay? So now let's add some shadows to the main part over here. Let's make a new layer for this. Set it as clipping mask and change it to multiply. Let's pick the color. Take color number 13. And over here, we can start with making this part right by the middle part darker on both sides, like this. Okay, let's make the brush size a bit bigger, maybe 5%, and kind of spread it out here like this. Now we can make here this edge darker. And now let's make the brush size smaller, about 2%, and make here this one still darker in the middle, so like this. And then here we can start crafting this kind of like a bent part inside of the bow. So just draw a shape like this. And same on this side. And then we have to add here some shadow over here at this part, at the bottom parts of this. Let's add here now Gaussian blur to make this spread nicer. I will make it here 6%. Let's tap here to finish this. And now we can still make it stronger right over here by the main part and over here. Okay, so like this is enough. Now let's make your new layer for the lights. Let's set it as clipping mask and change it here to add. Let's take color for the lights, color number 14. We can add the light over here, like that. Add the edge over here. Add the edge here by the shadow. Like that on both sides. Now here on this top part. Also over here a little bit. And now with bigger brush size, 3%, we can add here bigger light, like that. And same over here, just a little bit more light. And now I add here Gaussian blur. Over here I'm going to do 4%. Okay? And now we can add shadows and lights to this middle part. So let's go over here, make a new layer on top, and set it as clipping mask. Let's change it to multiply, and take color for the shadows, color number 13. Let's make now brush size smaller, 2%. And we can add this here like that, crafting here some bent parts on this. Let's make here this bottom part darker and also the right side darker. I'll make the brush size now even smaller, 1%, and just add here a few lines like this. Let's blur this. So take Gaussian blur, and here I will make it just 2%, and that's enough. Now we can make a new layer for the lights, set it as clipping mask, and change it to add. Let's take the color for the lights, color number 14, and add it here on the edge, on the left side. And then here in those middle parts where there is no shadow, so kind of like that, and a little bit here in that shadow part. Like this would be enough. Let's blur this. So take Gaussian blur. And I'm going to make it here 3%. Okay, let's tap here to finish this. So our bow here is ready. Now we just have to adjust the shadows on the candy cane a little bit. There should be some shadow from that bow. So first maybe let's group this bow. Swipe on the layers to the right and pick your group. And now let's open the group with the candy cane and go here to the shadows. Over here, let's take the shadow color, color number 13. We can make the brush size bigger, maybe 3%, and just add here some shadow over here from that bow. So just like that, just a little bit here, just make it darker over here. And now we just have to erase a little bit of that light over here. So let's go to this layer over here. Take the eraser, let's tap on it. Set it to the soft brush from airbrushing with the brush size 2%, brush opacity 53. We can very lightly just erase this light from here. So this way it looks more realistic. Now let's go to the other layer of the shadows, this one. Take the brush and just make you this shadow a little bit stronger. Okay, so our candy cane is finished. Now we can add a reflection of it. Let's close this group for a second. We are going to duplicate this whole group for the candy cane and the whole group for the ribbon and make this flat and put it as one layer. So first let's duplicate here this group, swipe on the left and pick duplicate. Now let's tap on it and pick here flatten. Okay. Right away we can turn off the alpha lock on this. We have to take it off. And now here the ribbon, let's duplicate it. We can take here this group underneath, tap here and pick flatten. And now we can merge those two layers together, so pinch them like this. Okay, now we have this here as one layer. We can move this now so it will be above that floor over here. And as you can see, this is already set as clipping mask. We are going to flip it upside down. Let's take arrow tool and pick here flip vertical. And now we're going to move it down and stop here when those two ends here meet. Also, if you want to make sure that you're moving this nicely, make sure you have snappings turned on. This way you will stay here within the lines of this shape. Okay, so let's put it like that until those two parts here meet. Okay, tap here to finish this. Now we're going to change the blending mode of this layer. And over here we had soft light. Let's see how the soft light would look like. It looks like this. We can turn down the opacity of this. I will make it here 67. And now let's blur this. So let's go to the adjustments and take Gaussian blur. We can make it here maybe 9%. And now let's add here small motion blur. Again, let's blur this vertical just a tiny bit now. So swipe your pencil vertically down. I'm going to make it here 18%. Okay, let's tap here to finish this. Now in the end, let's add here shadow. So let's make a new layer for this. We can set it as clipping mask. And now change your blending mode to multiply. We have our shadow color, color number 13. Let's take the brush. Maybe here let's use medium brush. Make the brush size 3%. And we can just draw now horizontal line over here like this. Hold your pencil on the screen. You can put your finger over here to make this nice line. And now I'm going to tap here so I can move it and put it right under the candy cane like this. If you want, you can adjust the length of it. Okay. And to finish it, tap with your finger on the screen. From the bow, I'm just going to add here just some more kind of like line in this part. It doesn't have to be anything precise. So just something like this. Okay, let's blur this. First we can add here small Gaussian blur. So let's take it. Let's make here this blur size 6%. Okay, and now we can add here motion blur. So let's take it. And now swipe your pencil horizontally like this to add here this nice shadow. I'm going to make it here 49%. Okay, tap here to finish this. And we can now make this stronger. Let's make one more layer for the shadows. Set it as clipping mask and change it to multiply. We can make the brush size now smaller, 2%. And again, let's draw on top of this. So just draw a similar shape, just smaller. Let's blur this in the same way. So first Gaussian blur. Over here I'll just do 4%. And now motion blur. And swipe your pencil horizontally. I'll do here 47%. Okay. Tap here to finish this. And now we can adjust the opacity of this layer. Maybe mine is still a bit too strong. I will make it here 89%. Okay, let's see. Okay, so now this illustration is finished. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and I hope you can share your drawing with me on Instagram. I would love to see it. And if you like to draw more of me, don't forget to check out my Patreon. The link is in the description. And also don't forget to check out my paper cut design course if you're interested in it. Thank you so much for watching and see you in my next video. Bye!